I'm going to show you how to your email marketing. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to be breaking down this live Klaviyo account, going to be running a full audit of all of their KPIs, their full email strategy, where they're lacking, what are they doing good at, and exactly what I would do to improve this account to double their email marketing revenue. I've generated over $100 million in e-commerce sales just through email and SMS, and I review at least 10 7 to 9 figure e-commerce brands every single week, doing exact audits like this, which I'm about to show you. And if you run a brand and you want me to do an audit for your brand, then you can book a call with a link in the description. But without further ado, let's get into this brand. So I'm not going to disclose the actual brand just for privacy, but this is a brand in the fashion niche. And so their email marketing is going to be a little bit different than a brand that's like in the supplement or CPG niche. So we have to keep that in mind as we're rolling out our campaigns and our flows and all of our emails. So if we take a look at the revenue here, we can see they're doing about $100,000 a month. I'm looking at March, which is last month, and then email contributing to $22,000 for an attributed revenue number of 20% of the total store revenue. Now, if we were doing millions of dollars a month, 20% is actually pretty solid. But if we're a brand that's doing under $1 million a month, ideally we kind of want to be in that 40% range. And that's if we're going off the base Klaviyo attribution settings. Every brand's going to be a little bit different, but typically that's a benchmark that we want to shoot for. So looking at that right off the bat tells me that we definitely have a juicy opportunity. And then the next thing that jumps out to me is we have the campaign revenue sitting at 80% of the total email revenue and flows only at 20%. Now that brings up the next KPI, which is roughly, we want to be at around 50-50 between campaigns and flows. And every brand will be a little bit different. So you might be more 60-40, 40-60, but if we're this lopsided, where only 20% is coming from flows, then we know that that's our biggest opportunity right off the bat, which we are absolutely going to be talking about. So those are like some of the macro KPIs. It looks like flows are kind of the bigger opportunity right off the bat, but overall the account is definitely underperforming a little bit. So what I have here is I always just have like an empty Google Doc, just breaking out the different aspects of email marketing that we want to look at. We have deliverability, we have list growth, we have flows, we have campaigns, and then we have SMS. Those are going to be the main things that I'm going to be taking notes on throughout this video. It's going to be a lot of juicy stuff, so make sure you stick to the end. So let's just start with the top of the list, the deliverability. So we can actually go to the deliverability tab right here in Klaviyo and get an inside sneak peek at like some of the KPIs across the whole account. Right off the bat, we can see a score of 68. I don't really pay too much attention to these scores. Really, I'm looking at these main metrics right here. We can see open rates at 20%, which is definitely very low, because ideally this says 33%, but ideally we want to be at over 50%. So we are very, very low on the open rates, and we're going to be tackling a couple things that we can do to fix this. So all right, 20%, very low. And then click rates, these are pretty solid. Don't really have to worry about that. Klaviyo gives you some base metrics here that you can look at. Nothing too much to be worried about here. Bounce rate, we're okay. Unsubscribes are very, very high. I agree with this KPI of 0.3% on the unsubscribe rate, and we are triple that right here. So we have a very high unsubscribe rate, but a pretty low spam rate. Usually unsubscribe and spam rates kind of like go together. So this is interesting. We'll have to take a look at this, and we'll go over a couple reasons on how we think we can update this. But unsubscribe rates, 0.9%, very high. Clicks will put fine, spam rates will say fine. And we're going to keep coming back to the deliverability section. Something that's pretty cool in this deliverability tab as well is if you go to reports, you can take a look at like the key metrics across different inbox providers. So you can see if there are any that you're kind of struggling with. Now, the most important is Gmail. We have that 20% opens. Apple, we're doing pretty good, but that's going to have Apple privacy opens, which Apple automatically opens like a lot of inbox messages. We can see Hotmail and Outlook is even lower, which is very, very typical, but overall not looking too hot. We're going to be tackling deliverability across the whole video, but right off the bat, I want to say that deliverability is a lot easier than you think. Deliverability is just simply how inbox providers view your domain, because every time you click send, inbox providers such as Gmail is going to look at you, look at your past reputation of emails you sent to determine, okay, should we send this person to spam or should we send them to the main inbox where people will see the emails? So if I go to Google and I'm like, hey, I want to send this email to 100,000 people, and then Gmail looks at me and sees that I've sent 10 emails over the past month, and those emails got 20% open rates, meaning if I was in a room with 100 people, 80 people would not want to see that email. If I was Gmail, I'd be like, okay, not a lot of people want to receive this email, then I'd end up in spam. So really, to fix your deliverability, the easiest thing that you can do is just drive up your open rates. And how can you drive up your open rates? Only send to people who actually open your emails. Seems stupid, but everybody overlooks it. And I haven't even looked at the campaigns, but I would assume that they're probably sending out emails to like their whole customer list. And we probably want to tighten that segment and only send our emails to people who are opening our emails. So if we go to campaigns here, we can look boom, their past few cents, entire list, entire list, entire list, entire list. And you can see, as a result, we are getting open rates of 17%, 21%, 19, 27, 24. And then we have this number here, which was actually an engaged list that they sent to, which they should be doing every single time. So they're just sending to way too many people and they're hurting their reputation by telling Google, hey, only 2 out of 10 people want to receive these emails. What we would do in this case is we go to list and segments. We would create a segment of just our engaged people. So what we would do is we would just create a segment, 60-day engaged, somebody who has opened email at least once in the past 60 days, and they can receive email marketing. We could just keep it as simple as this if we wanted to. You can get a little bit more in depth, but for simplicity, we can do this. We can see there are 24,000 people in this segment. So if we go back to campaigns and 14,000 people open to this, 14,000 divided by 24,000, that would be over 50% open rates. So that is what is going to improve their deliverability. So for overall notes here for deliverability, I'm going to be saying sending to too many people in campaigns, resulting in low opens and bad inbox reputation. So to solve this, we're only going to send to the 60-day engaged list, and over time our reputation will just continue to rise. A couple other tricks that I'm going to show you later in this video as well, which are going to help with this. Deliverability, unfortunately, isn't one of the things where you snap your fingers and automatically you're all good. It takes time to redevelop up your reputation to land back in the main inbox. So there's not too much stuff that we can instantly do to help, but this is something that month over month we would be reporting on to this client and letting them know how our inbox placement rates and our engagement metrics look. Now let's talk about the list growth. My favorite way to look at list growth is if we go here to the overview dashboard and we want to add a card, and then we want to do subscriber growth right here. We can track how the list is growing and subtracting over time. I'm going to change this to say the year to date, and this is what we see. Looks like we had a ton of people joining in January. I'm not quite sure why. February, only 72 additions, March 114 additions, and then April 175 additions. And we can see more removals from the email list than people actually joining the email list. Holy cow, we got a lot of work to do here. I would just grab this and pull it into here just so I can visualize this, because we pretty much do not have any list growth going on here. More unsubs than subscribes is going to be my main note here. And if we go to sign up forms, we can see they do not have any sign up forms live on their website, which means they pretty much have no way to grow their list except for people who are buying their products. Yikes. We want to get a sign up form set up ASAP. So mobile CVR is going to be mobile conversion rate for the pop-up form. We're just going to add notes for no form and no form. So as our notes, we want to add pop-up form, and that is going to skyrocket their signups. And I saw that they do give off 15% off for their first purchase. So why don't we capture people's emails for that 15% off? Because with a good pop-up form, we can gather 10% of our website traffic into email subscribers. And I know that this brand gets around 30,000 website viewers a month, unique website viewers. We have a 10% form on that 30,000 viewers. We would get 3,000 new email subscribers every single month. And so this number would go way up off the chart rather than where it is way down here. So that is going to skyrocket their list growth, and that's going to help convert people and educate them into actually buying. It's going to help this brand make a lot more on their ads. For fashion brands, this is usually a typical sign up form that I like to go for. It works really, really well, and we get zero-party data from the customer. So all we want to say is you've got this discount, just a super simple form. Don't try to overwhelm with all these crazy elements. And then we just ask them, what are you shopping for? Men, women, all styles, or nothing. Notice how there's no X in the top corner. We're forcing somebody to say, no thanks, I'll pay at full price. And that, they're more likely to say, answer that question, say men's right here, and then claim 5% off. That's when you ask them for the email address. It's commitment bias in humans. Once you start doing something like answer that first question, you're much more likely to follow through and enter your email because like, oh my goodness, I already started, might as well enter my email. So this is going to skyrocket their list growth. So huge opportunity right there by implementing these. Now let's talk about the email flows, which are the automations that are set up and are going to automatically fire based on a customer's actions. So right here, we can see what flows we have live. We have an abandoned cart reminder, but this is actually an abandoned checkout email because it says checkout started. We have an email welcome series, browse abandon, and then we have an SMS welcome. So we are missing a lot of stuff here. If we go back to my sheet here, we want to have the welcome, the site abandon, browse abandon, cart abandon, checkout abandon, immediate post purchase, win back, and then sunset. And right now we only have the welcome, we have the checkout abandon, and we have the browse abandon. Yikes. Now I know you might be wondering, like, abandoned cart reminder, this is abandoned carts, checkout started, but there's a difference between abandoned cart and abandoned checkout. Abandoned checkout is, let's use Nike as an example. If I were to click on this product, say I got my shoe size and I clicked add to bag, that is what added to cart is. That is the added to cart trigger, and we currently do not have anything set up in flows for this. If I were to close out of the site, I'm not getting anything. What abandoned checkout is, this current flow, is if I actually go to view bag and then I actually click this checkout button. Then if I go to checkout right here, now that flow would fire. So obviously there are a lot more people that are going to be adding items to cart and they aren't getting anything right now, which is a big opportunity. Definitely want to add that. Let's just do a brief run through. Let's look at this welcome series. So as a brief run through, they have 3 emails in the welcome flow, which is good. Ideally, we would like to get that more to like 4 to 6. Checkout abandon, they only have 2 emails live. Browse abandon, only 1 email live. And then they have an SMS welcome flow with 3 SMS messages. Now, really, when I say just having emails in place drives the majority of the revenue, I mean it when I say having emails in place drives the majority of the revenue. And they have 3 emails in the welcome flow. Ideally, we want this to be 4 to 6 emails just to properly educate them, and then also mixing in a text-based email or 2 just to give off that personal feel inside that welcome flow. Works really well. And right now, they just don't have that. What's there is they're getting fine metrics, but no one is entering into the welcome flow, so it's really not getting any revenue, which is why the pop-up forms are really going to transform this brand. So what we'd like to do inside this welcome flow, extend out 4 to 6, remind of discount in every email, and then add urgency at the end of the flow. And that's going to help really take this to the next level. Because right now it's just a simple welcome email, and then a follow us on social media, and then a bestsellers promo. There's no urgency on the discount code. There's no brand story or introduction, nothing. There's pretty much no customer journey. So we definitely want to add that. We also are going to need to add the site abandon, which the trigger is going to be active on site, which if we go to metrics over here, that's going to be this trigger right here. So we can see how many people are going on the site who have an email account set up with us. For this, we want to get 1 to 2 emails in place showing best sellers driving customer back to the store. In one of my last videos, I went over this doc, which is going over all the different abandonment flows that we need. And for site abandon, we can see we just want to do 2 emails here. I like to do a we notice you stopped by sort of email like this, showing different best sellers, and then follow up with a founder text-based email just like this. If you want more info, you can check out this video on it. It's 2 videos ago. So we want to get that into place. And then for browse abandon, we only have 1 email, which if we go to this trusty document that I made and we scroll down to browse abandon, we want to have 4 emails right here. That's typically my go-to. Right now, they just have 2 simple reminders, but instead we want to do a simple reminder to start things off with giving some social proof with an email that looks something like this. Nice and simple with social proof. Follow that up with a take another look, another simple one with some testimonials and frequently asked questions, overcoming any objections there. And then we want to enter that discount if we want to add a discount, and then we'll follow that up with a text-based email from the founder. And that's usually the winning outline. So we're going to want to extend that from their current 1 email, which isn't really performing or doing too much, extend to 4 emails following base abandonment strategy. And then cart abandon and checkout abandon, for simplicity, we can keep them kind of the same in terms of content, but the different triggers. So abandoned cart, let's see if they have their trigger for abandoned cart set up. We can see they probably do not. We're gonna need to set that up for this brand. All that we need to do, and if this happens to your brand, you just wanna disable your Klaviyo and Shopify integration and then re-enable it, and then the added to cart trigger should show up. That's what this trigger is. This is what it should look like inside your metrics tab right here. You should have this trigger, and then for checkout started, the abandoned checkout, this is the trigger that we want. And then similar sort of layout as browse abandon for abandoned cart and checkout, we can have like the same flow strategy, but just different triggers. I like to do a simple email one with a reminder, and then follow it up right after with a founder text-based email, and then enter a discount if we want to enter a discount, and then another text-based email from the founder reaching back out. So that's what I would do. We would set up 4 email flow, extend to 4 emails following the that is exactly what we would do. Checkout abandon, cart abandon right here. The 4 email flow going over exactly what I've showed you here. They also do not have a post-purchase flow, so we definitely want to get that live. We can get a lot of immediate upsells, cross-sells, and then also promote our social media in this. So we would go nothing set, and then we would implement the following. We'd start off with a founder message saying thank you, PS, upsell, being like, PS, if you want to keep shopping, you can do so here. Email 2, if we wanted to get aggressive, we could wait a day, wait 1 day, and cross-sell. So if they bought a specific product category, or there's just any product that we want to promote, we can say, hey, this goes perfect with any order of ours. So we do something like that. Emails 3, we could do promote social media, because I know this brand is really trying to make a push on their social media, so we can do something like that. Then email 4, we would say how to style or make the most out of your product. In this case, since it's fashion brand, I'll probably go over how you should wash and dry it, the materials, and anything like that. It's gonna be super super helpful for the customer. So we can implement this. It's going to make some sales, promote our social media, but also help the customer make the most out of their order. It's a win-win-win. And then for win back, which is if somebody bought from us a few months ago, they haven't bought since, there's currently nothing in place. They have something that's set on draft, but we definitely want to get this live. I just like to do kind of a simple 3 to 4 emails, starting with email 1 being like, we miss you. And then email 2, let's just enter a discount or a free gift. That's something that can work really well for win backs. And so after this, we're going to add urgency on the free gift. That's going to be pretty solid. I usually don't like to go crazy with win back flows to try to get people back because we're sending campaigns, the email blasts to the list. And we're usually running sales once a quarter. So people are getting an opportunity to rebuy back in those instances. So really don't need to go crazy with the win back. And then there's currently no sunset flow, which is going to automatically kind of like remove people from the list. We would want to set up a 1 email list cleaner right here. If anybody hasn't opened an email in 180 days, we just create a segment, somebody who hasn't opened an email in 180 days. If somebody enters that segment, send them a quick email just being like, hey, are you not interested anymore? We're going to remove you from the list. And then if they engage with that email, then we'll keep them. But if not, we're going to add a profile property saying this person is unengaged and we can remove them. For overall notes, they need a ton of work. They're missing many core flows, and the flows that are live are only a couple emails. The emails in place do get decent engagement though. That is pretty promising to see. One little note that I'm going to add to help us with our deliverability is we are going to ask for a reply back in welcome email number 1. We're going to say, hey, reply back with yes to let us know you received this email. Something as simple as that, people actually will do that. What that does is that is really going to boost our reputation because replies to our emails really help us out. It's going to help us land in the inbox more consistently. We're going to have that live, and hopefully that's going to help improve our deliverability over time. But we really just need to buff out all these flows and build out all these core ones. And this is really the 80-20. Just having all these bases set up that we went over is going to do the majority of results with all your flow revenue. And then if we skyrocket the list growth, we're going to get a lot more people entering into the flows. And that is exactly what's going to buff up this flow revenue and get it to at least an extra $10,000 a month. It might seem crazy, but I've seen it time and time again. That's all you need on the flow. So now let's talk about the email campaigns. For the email campaigns right here, if we look at the past 30 days, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 email campaigns. And then for March, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 email campaigns. They're roughly at 8 email campaigns per month. And that isn't bad. You can see that things are actually performing pretty well with the 8 campaigns that they're sending. We can see they're getting high click rates and high placed order rates, which is awesome. So what this tells us is that we can send more. Even though we're getting low engagement, that's going to be solved by the segments that we're using. And we're going to send slightly higher to ideally send 12 to 15 campaigns per month, ideally 3x per week. Now, I know what you're thinking, hey, the unsubscribe rates are high. How are we going to overcome that? And there are a couple things that we're going to do. One of the things that we are going to do is we are going to set up an unsubscribe preferences page where after somebody clicks unsubscribe at the bottom of our emails, we're going to send them to this page, having them enter their email address and then why they want to unsubscribe, or rather what they would be interested in receiving to see if we can get their subscription back. So we ask how often do they want to hear from us and what would they like to hear about. You can do this by going to settings, other, consent pages, preference pages, just like this. You can edit that page and tag profile properties there. So that's going to recover a lot of our unsubscribes, but also we're going to be growing our list so fast with our pop-up forms that we're going to place. We're going to get a lot more people joining than unsubscribing, which is an absolute win. And unsubscribes actually don't affect deliverability. So we don't really need to be too worried about that. And funny enough, I've actually found that taking brands from kind of 6 to 8 emails a month to 12 to 15 emails a month actually lowers the unsubscribe rates. It's super weird, but for some reason, when you're showing up a little bit more consistently, then people get used to seeing you in their inbox and they're less likely to unsubscribe. That combined with a better strategy of actually giving value to the list and not just spamming discounts is what is going to decrease a lot of our unsubscribes. So that ties us into the strategy where what they are doing with their current strategy, I know you can't see it, but pretty much what they're doing, 1 product drop per month, 1 sale per month, and then product highlights filling out the rest of the campaigns. So they'll do a couple of the sale emails, they'll do a couple emails for product drop, and then the rest is just product highlights. Pretty much giving no value to the list. That's something that we want to update. We want to give value with how to style our products. That could be one campaign. FAQ emails, so answering frequently asked questions about the industry or the niche. How our products are made. Founder story emails. Stuff like this, which is going to keep our audience engaged and be actual information that they care about. Not just throwing our products at them and being like, buy our stuff, buy our stuff, buy our stuff. That's why they're getting such high unsubscribes. And mixing that with their design, which is just really lame. Their current emails look something like this, where it's kind of just like a plain image, and then the plain products here, which we definitely want to upgrade. Because this right here is not engaging at all to the customers. There's no dopamine here. They're showing one product. Like, no, we want to engage them. So instead, what I would do is making our product highlight emails more engaging, like email designs and copy that look like this. You can see the cool layouts of this, the testimonials that look like these chat bubbles, and then focusing on the benefits of the product that I actually might enjoy. And then giving them value, like Mountain Skills 101. You can see 5 outdoor adventure skills every adventurer needs to know. This is interesting information, and this is something that I would probably engage to receive future emails. This is the exact sort of stuff that we would be wanting to send. As you can see, they have minimal copy and no real brand voice. So what we would want to do is we want to introduce infographics, clean transitions, engaging visuals, and short and snappy copy. Exactly kind of like this example. This is the same exact style that we would emulate over to this brand. It's much harder to unsubscribe from an email list if these are the emails that you're getting. If we combine this updated copy and design, the strategy of doing a little bit more value, how to style our products, FAQ, how our products are made, founder story emails, and then increase the sending volume to 12 to 15 per month, that's a recipe for a lot more revenue. You combine that as well, again, over time with our increased list growth. If we're getting 3,000 new subscribers onto the email list every month, then we are going to be in a really good spot. SMS, there's absolutely nothing. So we want to be sending 1 SMS campaign per week is what we want to add. And then for flows, we want to add all the abandonments. The welcome is fine. We want to add the browse abandon, cart, and checkout abandon. Then maybe a post-purchase message as well. And then also win back flow is what we would want to add for SMS here. We don't need to go crazy. Just 1 SMS each is fine. SMS, we have to be really careful with how much we send because people are going to unsubscribe at a much higher rate than email. So overall, my only concern here with the audit is really we're going to have to monitor these unsubscribe rates because these are very alarmingly high rates. But I really think that this unsubscribe preferences page that we're going to add is really going to recover a lot of these as it forces people to kind of rethink their decision. Then also we can keep their subscribe and just send them less emails. And then just the upgraded copy, design, and just overall branding is really going to help with the unsubscribes as well. So this is the only thing that I'm really going to want to watch. And deliverability is kind of like the other main concern of mine. And that's just something we're going to have to review month over month. Just by tightening the email list of who we're sending to, that's going to help and really turn things around faster than you'd think. So if you give us 2 months to implement these things, all these flows, the improved pop-up forms, the improved campaign performance, and kind of tighten up the deliverability a little bit, I'm very confident that we would double this current email revenue from $22,000 to $40,000 and contribute at least 35% of the total store revenue based on these exact systems that I showed you and the exact roadmap that I would follow. These are actually the exact phases that we would go through if this was a client of ours and we were improving their email marketing. First 30 days is all about the foundations, brand, customer, product research, building out the full customer flow strategy where we're mapping out every single flow in every email, the topic, and the briefs for each email, running that by with the client, building these new pop-up forms tests and implementation as well within the first couple weeks, and then doing the core pre-purchase email flow delivery, all the main stuff that we went over pre-purchase. So that's welcome flow, side abandon, browse abandon, cart abandon, checkout abandon. That's all going to be the focus for month 1. Then we move to implementation where we're getting feedback on a lot of these emails that we've sent over in the first phase. And for implementation, we're going to be implementing a lot of these and delivering the post-purchase flows like post-purchase, win back, all that stuff. And this is also where we're going to be starting to ramp up the email campaign send volume to get to kind of 12 to 15 per month. We'll start A/B testing, doing 10 per month, and starting to deliver the monthly stat reports and analysis. And the last ongoing phase is elevation, where it's continued management, where we're delivering 15 to 20 emails per month, revisiting and optimizing the flows over time. And so we would distribute our 15 to 20 emails across the campaigns and flows. Like maybe we want to do 12 campaigns one month and 5 flow emails that month, upgrading or redoing the whole cart abandon flow. That's what we would do with weekly and monthly reports and then business growth consulting to help this brand scale up profitably. If you're a brand and you want us to do this for you, then the link to my website is going to be in the description. You can book a call. We'll chat and see if we're fit. Hope you got value from the audit, and I hope that you can apply this to your brand so that you can make more money. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about some of the flows that I talked about in this video, see you in the next one.